Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honors, and glories due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kwadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect, scattered around the four corners of the earth. This is going to be a quick video. This is breaking news. This happened 2 days ago. Basically, there was a shooting in my area, Fort Detrick, I believe. And if you know where Fort Detrick is, it's up there in Frederick, Maryland. And Frederick, Maryland is basically pretty close to Baltimore. So this shooting happened at a military base. And the military base has a lot of history, which I'm going to show you later. Lord's will I get to the article, but I'm going to read here what happened. So I'm hearing conflicting reports. People are saying two sailors wounded. Others are saying 2 sailors dead. So I don't know what's really going on, but basically 2 sailors wounded after Navy medic opens fire near Fort Detrick. Deceased suspect identified. Today's date is April 8th, 12:43 a.m. I'm doing this, early in the morning. It'll be morning now. An FBI-led investigation is underway into why a Navy medic shot 2 sailors near Fort Detrick Tuesday morning. The suspect, 38-year-old, what is that? Is that a Dutch name? Fontaine Grandma Woden Setbet. Oh, so it was appears to be Jake that did the shooting, which is interesting. You can see here, Riverside Tech Park. An FBI-led investigation is underway into why a Navy medic shot 2 sailors near Fort Detrick Tuesday morning. The suspect, 38-year-old Fontaine Grandma Woden Setbet, that dude has to be Dutch, was shot and killed when he drove onto the base past a security checkpoint. Frederick Police Chief Jason Lando said Tuesday morning there was only one shooter. No threat remains to the community. Investigators look for motive after Navy medic Fontaine shoots 2 sailors near Fort Detrick. Police were called to Riverside Tech Park in the A400 block of Progress Drive around 8:20 a.m. for an active shooter incident. The location is a warehouse rented by Naval Medical Research Center, Biological Defense Research Directorate to store research supplies and equipment. When they arrived, officers found 2 people had been shot at a military office in the business park. The sailors were flown to shock trauma, where one remains in critical condition. The second victim was later released. Both victims are assigned to Fort Detrick and are active military. While police were responding to the shooting, they put a bolo for the suspect. Shortly thereafter, they learned personnel on the base had shot and killed someone fitting the suspect's description. In a statement, Fort Detrick's officials said Fort Detrick police have neutralized an active shooter situation involving an armed gunman, and medical life-saving procedures were initiated. The gunman was pronounced dead at the scene. Our number one priority is the safety of our people, said U.S. Army Garrison Fort Detrick commander. I believe that's Colonel Dexter Nunley. Our emergency responders are well trained for these type of situations. The fast response of our military police enables us to contain this threat quickly. You see here, Woden Sabet was a Navy hospital corpsman, U.S. Navy confirmed. He was on active duty, but lived off base in the city of Frederick. He used a rifle in the shooting. The shooting happened in the Frederick Business Park, located 4 miles from Fort Detrick. The suspect then drove to the base in a personally owned vehicle. Warden Sabet was stopped at a gate, but before he was able to be searched, Army officials said he sped through about a half mile into the base. He was pursued by the Fort Detrick police and stopped in a parking lot, but pulled out a weapon. And that's when he was shot and ultimately died around 8:45 a.m. U.S. Navy making their tweets. The subject was stopped at the gate before he was able to be searched. He sped past the gate and made about a half mile to the installation. Police did not say how the suspects or victims were linked or whether their motive was personal. Interesting. Several public schools in the area were placed on brief lockdown Tuesday morning due to the shooting. The lockdown was later lifted since there was no longer a threat. Frederick Police Community College was also placed on lockdown. Jeremy, that's a German name, Mutschler, Director of Marketing for Nicolok Paving Stones, said the shooting was near the company's Frederick location, but not at the business itself. Governor Larry Hogan released a statement Tuesday afternoon thanking first responders for how they handled the situation. So that's pretty much it. They neutralized the target, but that's not what caught my attention about this shooting. There's a reason why uh this happened. Not a reason why, but basically this military base has a lot of history. Okay, we're gonna start here. This is a Politico magazine. The secret history of Fort Detrick, the CIA's base for mind control experiments. Today, it's a cutting-edge lab, and in the 50s and 60s, it was the center of the U.S. government's darkest experiments. Okay, in 1954, a prison doctor in Kentucky isolated 7 so-called black inmates and fed them double, triple, and quadruple doses of LSD for 77 days straight. No one knows what became of the victims. They may have died without knowing they were part of the CIA's highly secretive program to develop ways to control minds, a program based out of a low-known army base with a dark past, Fort Detrick. Suburban sprawl has engulfed Fort Detrick, an army base 50 miles from Washington in the Maryland town of Frederick. 76 years ago, however, when the Army selected Detrick as a place to develop its super secret plans to wage germ warfare, the area around the base looked much different. In fact, it was chosen for its isolation. That's because Detrick is still thriving today as the Army's principal base for biological research and now encompassing nearly 600 buildings on 13,000 acres, was for years the nerve center of the CIA's hidden chemical and mind control empire. Detrick is today one of the world's cutting-edge laboratories for research into toxins, antitoxins, a place where defenses are developed against every plague, from crop fungus to Ebola. Its leading role in the field is widely recognized. For decades, though, much of what went on in the base was a closely held secret. Directors of the CIA mind control program, MKUltra, which used Detrick as a key base, destroyed most of their records in 1973. Some of its secrets have been revealed in declassified documents, though, through interviews and as a result of congressional investigations. Together, those sources revealed Detrick's central role in MK Ultra and in the manufacture of poisons intended to kill foreign leaders. Wow. In 1942, alarmed by reports that Japanese forces were waging germ warfare in China, the Army decided to launch a secret program to develop biological weapons. It hired a University of Wisconsin biochemist, Ira Baldwin, to run the program and asked him to find a site for a new bioresearch complex. Baldwin chose a mostly abandoned National Guard base below Cato, Cat, Cat, Catoctin Mountain called Detrick Field. On March 9, 1943, the Army announced that it had renamed the field Camp Detrick, designated as headquarters of the Army Biological Warfare Laboratories, and purchased several adjacent farms to provide extra room and privacy. After World War II, Detrick faded in importance. The reason was simple. The U.S. had nuclear weapons, so developing biological ones no longer seemed urgent. As the Cold War began, however, two seemingly unrelated developments on opposing sides of the world stunned the newly created CIA and gave Detrick a new mission. See, look, they're not done with Detrick, what they're doing in there, man, you know? They still have their program. They're probably relocated to a better location, somewhere in the States, but he best believe that the CIA, they're still doing these experiments, man, There's a lot of messed up shit that happened during the 1900s. Let's see. I don't know if I want to read the rest. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. Some scientists outside a tight-knit group suspected that was happening. Do you know what a self-contained, off-the-shelf operation means? One of them asked years later. The CIA was running one in my lab. They were testing psychochemicals and running experiments in my labs and weren't telling me. Gottlieb searched relentless for a way to blast away human minds so new ones could be implemented in their place. He tested an astonishing variety of drug combinations, often in conjunction with other torments like electric shock or sensory deprivation. Okay, in the U.S., his victims were unwitting subjects at jails and hospitals, including a federal prison in Atlanta and an addiction research center in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm gonna jump down here. Actually, I'm gonna jump over here. In Europe and East Asia, Gottlieb's victims were prisoners in secret detention centers. One of those centers built in the basement of a former villa in the German town of Kronberg, might have been the first CIA secret prison. While CIA scientists and their former Nazi comrades sat before a stone fireplace discussing the techniques of mind control, prisoners in basement cells were being prepared as subjects in brutal and sometimes fatal experiments. These were the most gruesome experiments the U.S. government ever conducted on human beings. In one of them, 7 prisoners in Lexington, Kentucky, were given multiple doses of LSD for 77 days straight. In another, captured North Koreans were given depressant drugs, then dosed with potent stimulants and exposed to intense heat and electroshock while they were in a weakened state of transition. These experiments destroyed many minds and caused an unknown number of deaths. Many of the potions, pills, and aerosols administered to victims were created at Detrick. Wow. One of the most well-known victims of the MK Ultra experiments was Frank Olson. Olson was a CIA officer who had spent his entire career at Detrick and knew its deepest secrets. When he began musing about quitting the CIA, his comrades saw a security threat. Gottlieb summoned the team to retreat and arranged for Olson to be drugged with LSD. A week later, Olson died in a plunge from a hotel window in New York. The CIA called it suicide. They killed him. They got rid of him. Olson's family believes he was thrown from the window to prevent him from revealing what was brewing inside Camp Detrick. Yeah, his folks knew what was up. A decade of intense experiments taught Gottlieb that there are indeed ways to destroy a human mind. He never, however, found a way to implant a new mind in the resulting void. The grail he sought eluded him. MK Ultra ended in failure in the early 1960s. The conclusion from all these activities, which it didn't end in failure, you know. All they did was they wrapped it up. They wrapped up that experiment, whatever they did, and they renamed it to something else, you know. They took off the name MK Ultra and just called it mind control. They're still doing these experiments to this day, you know. Esau never stopped. The conclusion from all these activities he made afterward was that it was very difficult to manipulate human behavior in this way. Nonetheless, Fort Detrick, as it was renamed in 1956, remained Gottlieb's chemical base. After the end of MK Ultra, he used it to develop and store the CIA's arsenal of poisons. In his freezers, he kept biological agents that could cause diseases, including smallpox, tuberculosis, anthrax, as well as a number of organic toxins, including snake venom and paralytic shellfish poison. He developed poisons intended to kill Cuban leader Fidel Castro and Congolese leader Patrice Lumumba or Lumumba. During this period, Fort Detrick's public profile rose uncomfortably. No one knew that the CIA was making poisons there, but its role as the country's principal center for research into biological and anti-crop warfare became clear. From mid-1959 to mid-60s, protesters convened once a week at the gate. Okay? In 1970, President Richard Nixon ordered all government agencies to destroy their supplies of biological toxins. Army scientists complied. Gottlieb hesitated. He had spent years assembling this deadly pharmacopoeia and did not want to destroy it. After meeting with CIA Director Richard Helms, he reluctantly agreed that he had no choice, which they didn't destroy all of it. You know, they just probably hid it and relocated a lot of its supplies to a new place. One batch, a supreme potent shellfish poison known as saxitoxin, escaped destruction, though. Two canisters containing nearly 11 grams of saxitoxin, enough to kill 55,000 people, were in Gottlieb's depot at Fort Detrick. Before Army technicians could remove them, two officers from the Special Operations Divisions parked them into the trunk of a car and drove them to the Navy Bureau of Medicine and Surgery in Washington, where the CIA uh, maintained maintained a small chemical warehouse. When Gottlieb's aides later testified that he had ordered his operation without informing his boss. By the time the saxitoxin was discovered and destroyed in 1975, Gottlieb had retired. Wow, that's crazy, man. Now we don't know the motive behind why they did it. We don't know we don't know why they did it. You know. Let's see if I can look for what I'm looking for. This is Jeremiah 49:10. I'm gonna give you a few scriptures. I'm gonna give you a second scripture as well. This is Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Okay? There's another precept that I'm looking for. So basically, Esau is being exposed. Everything's coming to light. Let's see, what is this? This is Luke 12 and 2. For there is nothing covered, okay, that shall not be revealed, neither hid, that shall not be known. Okay, and now if you ask or talk to a common person about mind control and what the CIA did, depending on who you ask, man, 4 times out of 10, or even 7 or 6 or 5 times out of 10, 50% chance people actually know what you mean. Before, back in the 70s and the 80s, they looked at that as a conspiracy theory. But now that there has been a lot of exposing on Esau's government and the wickedness that they've been doing, man, things are common knowledge now, and it's only going to get worse and worse for Esau Edom, because now the Lord has removed that covering. Go ahead and get that scripture, the covering cast. No, is that what I wanted? Um, it's, it's Isaiah 29:15. Woe unto them that see deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us, I want to get the scripture, but, I just said, you know what, I probably shouldn't get that scripture, but basically, let me go ahead and continue reading this. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as his potter's clay, for shall the work say of him that made it, it may be not, or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding. Um, all of Esau's wickedness is starting to turn back on him. All that wicked stuff they have done is starting to turn back on him, and now he can't. He basically can't remove that grime and dirt that he has on his name. Everybody knows him as the wicked, and it's only going to get prevalent uh, as we get into prophecies, man. The way the wicked elites have done all these deadly experiments, research, biological warfare, is only going to get more and more and more and more known. And that's what it says in Revelation, that your lovers that had laid a bed with you shall despise thee, roughly paraphrase it, and they are they that laid a wound under thee, roughly paraphrase. But anyway, that's it I'll have for that. For now, I only wanted to make a quick report on what happened, mainly because I live in Maryland, so I thought, hey, I might as well do this lesson. Um, it's getting a little bit late now, so I'm gonna close it out. Give all praises, honors, and glories due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kwadash. Double honors to your elders and apostles of the Great Millstone, who were well. Peace, blessing, and much safety and mercy to the elect. Are you Akim out there on the highways and byways, doing His word in truth and sincerity to you as He Shalom? To the Aqua, if they're listening and learning, the Israelite owners all around the world, to you I say Shalom. Until next time, Shalom. Lord's will, if the Spirit comes on me, I'll do a lesson. Probably around like late in the evening, but we'll see what happens.